And with lower oil prices, many of us figure we could see a cheaper trip to the store, for example, as a result of this. The thing is that we're not actually seeing that at the pumps in many respects. According to my next guest, it's simply not that simple. Senior petroleum analyst at Enpro International joins us now, Roger McKnight. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So this is all because Canada actually imports oil, even though we pull it out of the ground, because we are such a vast country.
And that's the problem, because all oil products, including diesel, gasoline, and crude oil, are paid for in U.S. dollars. So when the loonie is sitting at 88, you don't see the full benefit. People see in the paper, oh, crude's at $90 a barrel. That's not really true, because you're going to have to pay for that in Canadian dollars. That'll be $102. And that's why it doesn't all get translated to the pump. That's where the consumer gets confused, because it's all in U.S. dollars.
And there are different parts of the country where a cheaper price actually does help, more to the west than anything else, because they don't have to buy the crude from Venezuela or somewhere else.
Yeah, but their price is based on crude. Thunder Bay to the east follows the NYMEX, right? The gyrations of the NYMEX. Thunder Bay to the Rockies and then interior BC follow the changes in crude.
Now, that's the West Texas price that we often quote?
Yes.
As opposed to the Western Canadian Select.
That's right.
Why do we quote WTI when we're talking about Canadians when we've got Western Canadian crude sitting right there in Alberta?
Well, it's not, Western Canadian Select isn't posted. The WTI is the North American crude. Brent is a crude that's used to price everywhere else.
There's got to be a seasonality to this as well, as part of that whole supply and demand scenario?
Well, yeah, we have the driving season and the heating season. We're in the heating season right now. Shoulder period for gasoline. Gasoline demand should be flat to down, and it'll start picking up again in the driving season, which starts at the end of May. In the meantime, you have refinery shutdowns for planned maintenance to build up the more gasoline volume, so prices usually start rising in February.
We get that, we just sort of exited that shoulder season already for retooling for the heating oil side.
Right.
But I understand we've got an extra crimp into the connection here because Suncor's got a refinery that's offline and it's not shoulder season related.
No, that's going to be I think it's an 11-week shutdown. I think what they're trying to do is retweak the refinery to get when the Line 9 reversal comes through, whenever that happens. So there's only one refinery in Quebec, and there's one refinery basically in the Maritimes, and then nothing in Montreal.
I've been told that particularly for Ontarians, $1 change in the price of crude oil translates into a 1 cent per liter change in the pumps. Still,
for every dollar movement in crude, it's 0.6 cents at the pump.
Okay. Now, how long before we see a movement in oil reflected at the pump itself?
It's fairly rapid. People think they delay it and delay it. Not really. But what happens at the street level is that the rack prices or the wholesale prices don't tend to get passed along in accordance with what happened on Wall Street. In other words, if it goes up 3 cents, they go up about 4. If it goes down 4 cents, they go down about 3.
Isn't there the element as well that when we look at gasoline prices, they're more pegged to the spot price of crude oil than the futures contract that's more actively traded and more actively quoted?
Well, I'm sorry, but the gasoline prices are keyed to the NYMEX.
Okay, so it's still futures-based.
It's a futures price base.
Okay. We were having an interesting conversation off-air, which I'm hoping we can continue on-air, tied to OPEC. The expectation is that the reason why we're seeing OPEC do what they're doing, oversupplying the world by 1 million barrels per day, is they want to tighten the screws on Iran, they want to tighten the screws on the United States, they want to tighten the screws on Russia.
Correct.
For how long can they do that if we had John Stevenson over at Stevenson and Company telling me that oil will be at this range, maybe even lower, for the next 2 years?
Well, the Saudis have a war chest of $747 billion, so they can run this thing for 2 years. The only problem they got is 9 of the 12 members of OPEC can't really afford that. They can't afford crude down that low because they can't balance their budgets and provide service for their social program.
But isn't the solution simple for all of them? They'll cheat anyway. They'll just overproduce.
They always do. But the Saudis control 30% of the total output of OPEC. 10 million barrels a day.
13% of the world's supply. The Americans, 13% of the world's supply. Where do you see that shaking out at the end?
Well, I think if the finances get a little bit tight on the shale oil side, it's going to get very interesting indeed.
Roger? We love your time, the time we spent together. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Roger McKnight has been our guest. Please don't shoot the messenger, Senior Petroleum Analyst at Enpro International.